Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I'm aware I will, from now on, be known as a criminal in the reader's sphere by saying this, but I must. I must admit to you all that I watched the Dune movie before reading the book. Wait, no, I swear I can explain. Are you willing to hear me out now? Cool. Dune, the movie, came out on September 15th in France, among other countries. I had thought that the release date would be the same as in the US, so imagine my reaction when I heard I would get to see it a whole month before that. Naturally, I flexed on all my American friends. And I'm flexing on you now in case you're hearing of this for the first time. Don't be too mad at me. I already paid the price by sadly going to the movie theater alone. The good news is, the movie is great. Now keep in mind that this is coming from someone that hadn't read the book at the time, had zero context of the story, and went in completely blind. So if you're a huge fan of the book, then there's a possibility you will hate the movie. But having read the book now, I can safely say that the adaptation is very close to the original material. Plus, the acting is flawless, the aesthetic and visuals are top-notch, the soundtrack is amazing and really makes you immersed. Amanda the Jedi made a video on it. You can go watch it if you want spoiler-free reasons on why this is good. So there, giving you some hope. I'd like to clarify that this is a book review, so I will not be talking about the movie any further, and if I use any image from it, it will only be from the trailer. So rest assured, my dear Americans, no spoilers for you. How generous of me. Small disclaimer, Dune is an incredibly packed and rich narrative. It's safe to say a lot happens. Forgive me if I happen to skip over some stuff due to how distracted my brain was at times during my audiobook listening. The story at its very basis is simple. The people of Arrakis, known as the Fremen, are oppressed and their planet is exploited. Why, you might ask? Well, it seems humanity makes zero progress in 10,000 years, and the great houses from other populations try to take over Arrakis, fighting over spice. You should have seen my face when I first heard this. What the f? But apparently spice is the most valuable resource in the galaxy, and everybody wants a piece of it. Aw, look at white people learning to season their food. Was that racist? Before we even get to Arrakis, we get introduced to our main protagonists and antagonists. House Atreides, consisting of Duke Leto, his concubine Jessica, and their son Paul. The Duke is okay, that's all I have to say about him. Jessica is definitely my favorite. I didn't expect her to be so much of an important character, but she turned out to not only be that, but also a powerful, strong, and resilient woman, as well as an admirable mother figure. I also liked Paul a lot. I thought he was different from other teenagers and how they are depicted in fantasy, especially in more recent years. He's neither stupid nor annoying. Refreshing. House Harkonnen, designated villains, some kind of mutants? I'm not sure about this part. All I know is that they're super creepy guys. They rival the Bene Gesserit in creepiness at the very least. Am I the only one being scared of all these people? The Baron is plain awful, and the Bene Gesserit sound like a cult with very questionable habits. Ask Jessica. Or even Paul. He's had his hand burned by the Reverend Mother in a vision, but still. While also being threatened with a poisoned needle. Wow. Couldn't you wait until we know each other a little bit before you do this? Bam. We're on planet Arrakis for some political reasons. Yeah, no, it doesn't get better even in year 10,000 something. They are discussed at large, but I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't get most of it. I understand the general idea. People are after power and control, and they want to eliminate their rivals. Typical humans. But what I'm most interested in are the Fremen. I feel like if I existed in the Dune universe, I would definitely be one of them. Arrakis reminds me of home. No, I did not grow up in the desert, but close enough. The setting of Arrakis has a sense of familiarity to me, and the Arabic-sounding names that are used in relation to it made me oddly happy. As a North African, I just really appreciate seeing bits of my culture in foreign literature and media. So Arrakis is... we'll literally have our own spice over in Kabylia. It's called olive oil. We put it everywhere and use it for everything. So I understand how precious the spice is, and why the Fremen don't like those airsick off-worlders walk in their dunes to collect the resource and run away with it. Thank goodness the Fremen are helped with the various creatures around them, namely the sandworms. These things are gigantic. I'm scared of the smallest bugs. I think I would instantly die just at the sight of one of these. At least, thanks to the smart Fremen, we know the tricks to help us survive this giant creature of the sand. You just need to do your weirdest walk. One step forward, another step forward. Stop! Now, slide to the left. slide to the right. A faster version of this could also help against hunter-seekers, or as I like to call them, the one hell of mosquitoes. They're tiny, infernal devices that will fly to you and sting you to death. This is just one example of the technology shown in Dune, a very strong aspect in the novel in my opinion. I also like the shields, for instance. They're very cool. Paul almost gets killed by one of those small flying needles, and suspicions of a traitor start rising. Jessica is accused immediately. She's a Bene Gesserit. She's sneaky. She's a witch. I might just start calling myself a Bene Gesserit. The term witch is so last year. There's no mystery here for us readers, since Dr. Yui pretty much admits right away that he's acting shady on behalf of the Baron. You can't trust anybody these days. Goodbye, Duke! But he's not going down by himself. He's also taking the Baron with him. Or so we hope. This is one of my favorite parts for some reason. The tooth thing aimed at killing the Duke but also poisoning the Baron on the way? That's so cool! Dr. Yui is a double betrayer, and normally I would hate him for it, but that's so cool! You know what else is super cool? Water. After the death of the Duke, Paul and Jessica are hunted down next. Sometime during their run, Paul sips on some magical water called the Water of Life, which is very ironic, knowing how lethal this substance is. Paul sees his ancestors and discovers that he is a Harkonnen. Awkward. Hi, Paul. Welcome to reality where life is a bit. Paul is an anomaly to begin with. Jessica was supposed to breed a girl to follow her cult's rules, but Paul came instead, and so she taught him the Bene Gesserit ways, namely the usage of the voice, a mind control kind of thing, which is absolutely terrifying, but I love when Jessica uses it. So basically Paul is an Atreides, a Harkonnen, and a Bene Gesserit. I can see the existential crisis coming. At least he got to meet the Fremen girl of his dreams, Chani. And dude, things escalate so quickly. Paul is in Muad'Dib, Jessica is pregnant with a girl and becomes a reverent mother. Chani sees in a vision that her and Paul are gonna have a child together. 2 years later, Paul's sister gets kidnapped by the Harkonnen, and we meet the Emperor. And this whole time, the Baron, I don't know what he's doing and I don't care. I actually have no idea what happened towards the end. Listen, I tried really hard and at first I did enjoy the book, but after a while I started caring less and less, and in the last couple hours of the audiobook I completely gave up. It's a shame because the world building and the themes in the story are excellent. I'd say the one thing about Dune that lets me have some reservations on it is how dense it is. I've seen books lack substance and drag on forever for no reason, but we got the opposite here. It's so much to understand and remember, and the flow of information is constant. It's not a bad thing, but for a distracted person like me who struggles to concentrate, it's a bit hard to keep up with all of it, especially in a genre that I struggle with in general. Not gonna lie, my head felt heavy at the end of it and I was relieved it was over. I think I would have loved Dune way more if it was written differently. Let's finish this mess with something ludicrous. I don't know why I said ludicrous. I never say ludicrous. A surprise Arabic lesson with Kaya. Ditch that Duolingo app you've been ignoring for months now. I got you. Here are some words I picked up during my lesson. My Arabic became a bit rusty after I left my country, and this is purely based on guessing and my own understanding. So if you speak Arabic, tell me what you think these words mean.
Muad'Dib,
Teacher.
Bene Gesserit,
Children of Gesserit.
Lisan al-Gaib,
Lisan means tongue, and Paul having visions makes me think it refers to telling things that are to come.
Mahdi,
Gifted.
Shaitan,
Devil.
Ke,
Leader.
Jihad,
A combat of sorts.
Kalima,
Word.
Alia,
Elevated. I'm sure there are many more, but not being able to see them spelled, I couldn't catch them all. Feel free to add some of your own. I've mentioned it before, science fiction isn't my most favorite genre. Whether I like it or not really depends on the book at hand. And because of that, I think Dune is doing rather well, considering I actually like the story. Now, the question is, do I like it enough to keep reading? I'm gonna be honest, I don't think it's gonna happen. I can see why so many people think this book is a masterpiece, and I can recognize a good book when I see one, even when it ends up not being my cup of tea. And Dune is exactly that, an excellent book that just isn't for me. Not totally. I like it enough to stick to the movies, like I did with Harry Potter. Yeah, I haven't read the Harry Potter books either. Send me to the stake, I'm still not reading them. While I'm making all these scandalous confessions, I need to point out that I listened to Dune's audiobook on Audible, and what I wasn't aware of is that this specific audiobook was an abridged, dramatized version of Dune. According to some comments, a lot of storylines were cut and some parts were manipulated because of that. Now, these remarks could be exaggerated, I don't know, but I was already well into this dramatization to just switch switched to the unabridged version. And honestly, it's not so bad considering how long I thought it was already. Does this make my review a bit unfair? Probably. Anyway, this is gonna be all for today. Next time, we'll talk about The Name of the Wind. Has been on my TBR since forever. Finally get into it. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. You know the drill. I still try to make a different outro every time, you know, to spice it up. Okay, bye.